The first technique we're going to look at for stencils and the work of Banksy is just to get your head around the basic principle of what a stencil does. Basically, it's a piece of card with a hole cut in it. So you can imagine that outside of this area is a big piece of card, and this is the hole that's been cut. When you spray in there with your airbrush or your spray can, in Banksy's case, you just spray and it sprays inside the stencil, but it won't go outside because the rest of the wall is being protected by the card. So that's the basic principle of how that's working. And he obviously cuts lots of different shaped holes in his card, and then he can get his airbrush and spray them. But we don't really need to do all that. We don't need to go out on the street and spray our stencils onto the wall. We can fake it all in Photoshop. So let's just revert things back to where we started from and use a filter to save us having to cut out rather sophisticated shapes, because his work is very sophisticated. He's doing actually quite a lot of stencil work where he's cutting holes, spraying, and then he's got a different stencil to actually fill in and create some more detail. So it's more like screen printing on walls rather than just spraying on a stencil. So we can fake all of that in Photoshop. So let's have a go. Let's open up. Actually, I need the browser. Let me just open up another file. This one's on the CD, the one that you're looking at. But we've also got plain as well. So we'll turn this into a military style stencil. And Banksy's work is, as you probably will know if you've seen any of it on the walls in London, sprayed all over the place, there's quite a military context to it. And so this is a good image to kind of convert into a stencil. So open up the plane, and I'm just going to go to filter here and go to artistic and choose cutout. And cutout is brilliant for faking the sort of two-tone colour style of stencil that you'll get if you create one of Banksy's images. Now let's have a look here at the default settings. It's a little bit crowded in my monitor here because I've got 800 by 600 resolution. Normally Photoshop gives you much more space than this, but this is just so we can actually make a movie version of this. So let me just zoom out. I'm using Photoshop CS, as you can probably see, and that's just about getting everything on the screen there now. And here's the cutout filter that we've chosen. If you click this toggle here, you can see lots of other filters as well, but you don't need to do that because you've chosen cutout from the top there. Right, and here's the plane with already a very stenciled look, because I've been already fiddling around and experimenting before I actually started recording this. But you'll probably find the default is a little bit higher, and you'll have a lot more detail to start with. And you're actually getting something that doesn't look like a stencil, because it would be quite tricky to do a bit of card with holes cut out to create this sort of design. It would just be too complicated. So you will need to reduce the number of levels. So I found probably to get something that's fairly authentic, maybe 4 would be the top. You've still got a hint of detail there, which has been filled in, which some of Banksy's stuff has got just one hole cut in and just one colour sprayed on, but some of his other stuff has actually got a variety of extra layers and levels to it. So this is probably something in between. So you've got a little bit of the gun turret there, and you've also got the logo. So that's probably quite good. But as it's cut out of card or paper, we'll just reduce the edge simplicity. Turn into Sean Connery, sorry about that. The edge simplicity. Or you can actually magnify that and make that more cut out and more abstract. Obviously we're starting to lose the shape of that. Plus Banksy's stuff is fairly detailed, so let's take it down to about 3 and maybe go up to 4. Don't want to lose the sense of plane. Yeah, that's got a nice cut out look to it, and a very stylized looking star there now. You can actually believe that's been cut out of a bit of card there with a bit of scissors. So yeah, experiment. Depends on what you're using. There are different settings here for different styles and designs. We'll have a quick look at a big gun in a second. And edge fidelity, we just whack that up a little bit. You've got a restoration there of some of the detail there, but we've still got this nice cut out look. So I'm going to go for that and click OK, and there's the plane looking like a stencil there now. I'm just going to just do a quick image adjustment. Let's go to auto contrast to get a nice contrast there. Then use the magic wand, hold shift down, and just click to select get inside this wing here as well, and then we'll just hit backspace, zoom out, get rid of most of the outside there. I'm now going to select the whites, select similar, and I'm going to double click on here just to unlock it. And now when I hit the backspace, I've got nice transparent background. Command D or Control D to deselect, and there's our plane there now. So if I just select all, edit copy, we can now go to the wall and paste that in. So if I go Control Tab, that will bring the wall to the foreground here, and Control V or Command V if you're on a Mac, or Edit Paste to add the image there. Now his stuff does have a hint of colour. It doesn't have to be pure black against the background there. So you could keep the colour, or if you want to, you could try and desaturate it. Just depends on the design you want, really. Though that's very solid at the moment. That doesn't look particularly sprayed on. So let's just fiddle around with the layer blend. You could try something like darken, and that will sort of merge it a little bit. But I just tend to leave it on normal, and just take the opacity down a little bit. So you've got a hint of the wall underneath. Now to make it look more like paint, because this is very clean and tidy, if you go to Banksy's website, which I think is banksy.com, I'm not too sure, it's easy to find, it's the first thing that will come up on Google. You know, you've got the odd smudge here, because when you're outside in the middle of the night spraying graffiti illegally on walls, you know, you might smudge a bit, or there might be a gap between the hole here and the bit of card and the wall itself, so you're going to get smudges. So to fake the smudge look, we'll just select outside here in the transparent area, and then we can take a brush. I can use sample just the foreground colour here, so it's the same, and then choose a nice soft brush, so you've got a nice soft edge to it, nice large brush as well, and then just spray a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do this on a new layer so I can adjust the opacity, and I'm going to hit the right bracket here. You've got the left and the right brackets, not the curvy ones, but the rather angular brackets, and you can then increase the size there. So I'm just smudging my lane a little bit. I'm going to change the size down a bit. You can right click, that's another way of changing the diameter of the brush, or control click if you haven't got a 3-button mouse. So I'm just adding there a little bit of extra smudge here, and then what I'm going to do, because this is a little bit over the top, is reduce the opacity of that layer a little bit, so we can sort of see the smudges. That's better. And if you want to see the effect without the the marching ants here, just Control D to deselect, or let's undo that. Control H, and that will hide the marching ants, but it won't remove the marquee. So I can't actually paint on the plane. I can only paint outside it because it's still there. If I do Command H or Control H again, depending on if you're a Mac or a PC, you can see that the marching ants are still there. So yeah, we've got quite a decent looking stencil there now. I'm just going to browse very quickly to add to the military theme. Banksy would have a witty slogan or something, I can't think of one. But here's a slightly more sophisticated design. So very quickly go to artistic and cutouts, and you can then apply the same effect. It's quite a detailed picture here, but we could turn that into a believable stencil. That would probably be something that is within Banksy's capabilities of designing, because it's got several different layers here and different passes of spray cans. But that is something that is on par with his work. Very, very quickly, of course, using the number of levels here. But go and check out his website, get inspiration, because there's some very interesting stuff there. And then you can start creating your own montage by using, well, you can use our brick wall if you like, and there's no danger of you getting nabbed by the police or even having to go outside. Isn't that marvellous? Alright, that's Banksy and stencils.